Hey guys, Mr. Biz here. Hey, I just got done meeting with a client and wanted to pop on here real quick. This is something I see pretty often and has to do with pricing. So as we all know, pricing is absolutely critical to not only your business, but obviously your cash flow as well. If your pricing is off, cash flow is going to be off. It's going to have a completely downtrodden impact on your business. And so with pricing, two key things that I see missed often. So not to get too technical with semantics and all that good stuff, but a lot of businesses, majority of businesses I'll say, use what's called a cost plus method, which essentially means you determine your costs and then you add a margin to it. So say for example, you want to have a 20% margin and your costs are $100, so you charge $120. You add 20% onto the 100 to get you the 120. The risk with that, so that's a good model to use, but the risk with that is obviously you have to get the cost piece correct. I know you're saying, well, Ken, geez, that's really obvious, but I'm telling you, I see it time and time again that's where people swing and miss on this. So in the example I just gave, you think your costs are $100, you charge $120. Well, in reality, what you come to find as you do more and more analysis is oftentimes your costs aren't $100, they're more. And so that shrinks your margin. So I dealt with a business one time using the same example. Their costs were in the 117 range and they're charging 120, and they're wondering why they're not making money or not making enough money on the volume that they're doing. So critical piece. Now, the key pieces of this I see missed most often. So there's two things. Write these down and make sure that they are in your pricing model. Number one thing that I see missed is, ready for it? Drum roll. Anyone, please? No? Thank you. The number one thing I see get missed is reworks. So if you are in a service business, the amount of times that you have to go back out to a customer to fix something that wasn't done properly, or any reason you need to go back out. So obviously when those instances happen, you're not charging for those. So those visits are free to the customer, don't produce any revenue. And the other bad part about it is, if you don't incorporate some element of that into your pricing, that's where you're going to end up where you think your costs are something and they're actually much higher. And depending on your business and how often you have to do that, that could end up being substantial. So you have to make sure you really, really keep that in mind. And what you can do is you can find out over time what is the average, the amount of times you have to go out for jobs, and then you calculate that average into your pricing model. So you don't have to actually say, well, geez, this is for customer ABC, and we'll probably have to go out there 2 times. You could do that if you knew that specifically. However, you don't have to do that. You can just come up with an average. And the other piece that I've seen missed, not as often as the reworks, but I have seen missed, is any type of freight or shipping costs. I know you're probably thinking, geez, how the heck do you miss that? I know, but I get it. But a lot of times people aren't looking at that. They look at labor and materials, and then they look at overhead and forget about some of those pieces, such as freight or shipping. And depending how much shipping you have to do with your particular product or service, it could be substantial as well. So those are two things. Make sure that you have both of those elements baked into your pricing and your costing model for your pricing, because if you don't, you're going to end up with margins that are much smaller than you want them to be and you intend them to be. So hopefully that's helpful for everyone. Hope everyone had a really good Labor Day weekend. They're back at it today, kicking some butt, and we will talk again soon. See ya.